Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Chair Mercy?
Here.
Commissioner Coleman?
Here.
Commissioner Livermore?
Here.
Commissioner Levinson? Here. Commissioner Hamill?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Here.
Thank you. Let's approve the minutes, just so I don't forget to do it later on. Could I have a motion to approve the May 19th meeting minutes?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any corrections, comments? Yeah, Carrie's here. Go, Carrie.
Chair Mercy?
Yes?
Commissioner Coleman? Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we have 56 River Street. And yes, your reading was really, really high. And you received a water bill that was $5,000, $5,423.37. That's water and sewer.
Right.
As you know, the city of Oneonta has what's called conservation pricing. So the more you use, the more you pay by volume. Did you know that?
No, but that's,
Okay, so there's a minimum usage, and that's a certain cost per gallon, and then as you use more and more, the additional gallons are charged more for. It's a step system. So your charge goes up. And what happened is that the electronic reader that sends the readings to the Department of Public Service was not working. We contacted the owner and no action was taken. We assumed that the property was empty, and so we just charged the minimum. When we finally actually discovered that the ERT wasn't working, the ERT wasn't working, we finally were able to get into the property and replace the ERT. And at that time, we discovered that the usage had been quite high. While you've been charged the minimum, your usage was significantly more than that. So what the finance office did was they eliminated the number of gallons that you would have paid for in the minimum each year that the ERT wasn't working, which ended up being 3 years, and then charged you for the remainder, and in consultation with the finance office, that's not actually I didn't think that was the correct way. When we originally got your appeal, I said, actually, because of conservation pricing, when you're charged for a lump sum that was used over the course of 3 years, you're actually paying more. So we recalculated it as if we eliminated the gallons that you'd already paid for, and we divided it by 3. So we calculated if you used a third of it this year, third of it this year, third of it this year, it reduced the bill by about $1,000.
Okay, so that's in conclusion, you're reducing the charge from that number to $1,000 less.
Right, so not to $1,000, but
No,
by $1,000.
Right, $1,000 less.
And I can give you and actually I should have given this to you, so if you wouldn't mind coming back.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Here's the calculation, and your charge goes from this number 54237 to 4133, and I think we can agree to that. I mean, I know your owners aren't going to be happy.
Well, I guess what they're not really,
They just thought it was weird.
what they're not really, well, not that it's weird, is what they're not really happy about is that they were receiving water bills during that time, as you said, and they were paying for those water bills. And the only notice that was ever made to contact them was through mail. And the fact that the mail didn't work, I mean, we have, my number's on file with the zoning and as our other forms of communication with them, and they would have been happy to have addressed this problem years ago.
Yeah, and our problem is that our finance office uses the property owner address. So,
But as a property owner in the city, when you are asked to do what you do, and then you provide all the information, because these guys do everything, they have 3 other properties, they do everything by the book as asked by the book. And if they're not given the opportunity to respond to something, their information's on file. It's not their fault that another department can't figure that out. And they were working on this a long time ago.
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
The ERT was the water meter was working. And I hear what you're saying, that you might have fixed whatever problem was in the property if you'd known that you had high usage.
Yeah.
You didn't have, we have something called a continuous usage card.
Right.
So you didn't receive that because the usage went up and down. And I think the DPS, the Department of Public Service, has given you the usage, like in fact, I think that's what I just gave you,
Okay.
is the monthly, some days it was low and some days it was like super high.
Right, well, I don't even know if they've come to a conclusion on what's going on, because the front department has been vacant so far this year, and the water usage hasn't really changed. So they're basically saying that the front department used no water, and the back department was using all of that. But again, I think the biggest issue is there are other ways to communicate with the property owners and being on file with the city, and they were receiving bills and paying them every year. So if we were receiving a bill, and you said you guys thought the property was vacant, and it wasn't. It was occupied, and they filled out a property use form, which had form of communication with the owner. So, I think their disappointment is that they're paying a bill that may or may not be their responsibility, but it could have been addressed years ago, literally years ago, and that bill could have been reduced by a greater number than $1,000. Or $1,200.
Possibly, right.
Well, I think probably because whatever the issue was, it would have been addressed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that it would have been addressed.
Go ahead, no, you can ask whatever.
So we have this gentleman, sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Patrick.
Is listed as the manager of the property?
Yeah, they're out of their owner.
Somebody, anybody?
Sure, yeah, I mean, I've done inspections with them.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do with the water.
So how does that work? The city, we have something on file, somebody being the property manager, don't they get all the communication?
They're almost,
Not from code.
we're totally separate.
Because I think there's some legal requirement that you have to send the taxes. I mean, you don't get the taxes.
No, in fact, even when they're departmental papers, the owners get to decide what goes where. But,
But, I mean, we send it to the same place the taxes go.
Right.
So they would have gotten the communication that said,
Well, they said they
that
did.
something's going,
But they said they did not get that communication.
well,
And then
we
you
send
can't,
it certified and we send it by regular mail.
well, they get everything else that gets mailed to them, they receive. They didn't receive
I
that.
don't know, I mean, all of
And
it.
I understand that, there's a protocol, but there's also additional ways to get a hold of people.
Right.
So to me, a problem of that magnitude, I would have thought that the city, and I think they think the same thing, that the city would have made an effort other than just sending out the same letter at the same address that's not being responded to. So,
We have 3,000 customers and,
but you're responsible for those customers.
well, we are responsible for our customers, but our customers are responsible to us. If they want to let us know,
I mean,
obviously,
yeah.
you do like code enforcement.
I see.
Code enforcement has a
Yeah.
completely different
Oh.
system because we are required, water bills are required to go to the property manager. I mean, we usually have to,
And-
water bills, tax bills, those kind of things go to the property owner. Legal notices, they go to the property owner.
Yeah. And I think their position is, again, like, if they weren't paying the water bill and they weren't receiving a response to the problem, then I could think people saying they're ignoring it, et cetera, et cetera. But by the fact that they were paying a water bill,
It was the communication that said, we need to get into your property, your ERT isn't working, we don't know what's going on, we're not getting any readings from your house. I mean, we sent 3 letters to the address that the water bills go to, and yes, they paid the water bills, but they didn't respond to the other ones, which would have allowed us to get in,
Sure.
the DPS people to get into the property and figure out what was going on. So, I hear what you're saying, and as citizens, we're not paid, we're just a citizen board. We hear what you're saying, but we also have a fiduciary responsibility to the city to rely on the meter. And the meter says that was used. I feel like we did something for you by recalculating, as I think it should have been to begin with. I mean, that was part of our role.
Do you know at this point if it's been resolved, what's going on there?
The ERT is back in service. Look at your, I have it right here.
I'm looking at it, and some of the
You're using 12,000 gallons in 2022. You continue to use quite a bit of water.
And that's kind of the point, is that water usage is showing essentially the same as before. And one of those apartments was vacant during those first 3 months of the
Well,
year.
you got something going on there. I mean, you need to go in and fix it.
Well, I was there when someone from the water department was there, and said there's no leak.
Well, which means that you have a running toilet. I mean,
No, that would be indicated by the secondary meter on, the secondary hand on the meter that is.
it would, unless it was a periodic thing. Let me look at your, let me see if I got that.
Well, we did have to go through and look at it as well, because they found nothing going on, but.
Well, you just need to let your tenants know not to let the toilets run, because that's almost always what it is. I mean, you went from, in 2019, using approximately 5,000 gallons of month to using, well, then the ERT stopped working. So then you had a really, well, then you're up to 12,000 gallons, 11,000 gallons, 17,000 gallons, 13,000 gallons.
Well, the minutia of what's causing it was secondary to the point of having information and.
What I would urge your people to do is get in touch with our finance office and make sure that wherever they want their invoices to go, or their communications to go, they should make arrangements with the finance office, because that's who sends these things out. And they have a different legal responsibility than the code enforcement.
Sure.
So if your people want it to go to you and then you pass it along to them, that's totally fine with us. I mean, that's not our,
Understood.
right, I mean, it's, tax bills and water bills are more legal documents than letters from code enforcement, even though bills from code enforcement certainly are.
Understood.
Okay, so we haven't voted on it yet.
Okay.
So you still may sway the board.
Can you tell me what the amount was changed to, please?
It was changed from,
5,000 and change.
I think I kept it.
Final amount was 4133.
Thank you.
4133.70 from $5,423.37. It would have gone from 2,900 for water to 2,000 for water, and 29 for sewer to 2,000 for sewer.
And what was the date of the change of the ERT that we were in
The
there?
ERT changed in February of 2021.
Oh, so as of reflected here.
So what was the change, the amount of the change?
$1,289.67.
And do you have this listing that shows you by month to see that?
That's what I just-
Started to repeat that to me,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Which, I'm sorry, my.
That's okay. Since the ERT's been changed, that's what you were talking about, that the gallonage is still high. You're over, pretty much over 10,000 every month. Sometimes 17, 18,000, so. And you're saying that there was somebody from this water there since this saying that there's no leaks?
Yeah, because he had a site visit. I mean, we always ask for a site visit. Any further questions? No, that's helpful. It's always good, I mean, that's our job.
I have a question.
Yes,
I had nothing to do with that situation, but as a property owner in Oneonta, having occasionally had a high water bill, that you did get a postcard notification for, that it was like high usage, and then by that point, it already went up to $1,500. I know somebody else had one that was $15,000. My question is, this process of mailing notifications for something that really is sort of an emergency situation really doesn't seem like the best way to communicate. I mean, maybe that could be a backup to what really should be a priority phone call to whatever, number is on record with, because it really is a sort of emergency situation. And it almost seems like the city is using that pricing to kind of rake in a lot of money on these water systems.
the pricing is really for the very, very large users. They drive our capacity. And so the colleges, the hospital, the large users pay for basically, that keeps the overall homeowner, if you had normal usage, you would pay the minimum. If your properties had normal usage, you would pay the minimum. The comptroller says that each property in the state of New York should approximately pay $800 for water and $800 for sewer. Ours is a lot less than that because of conservation pricing, because our very large users, which really drive the capacity that we have to maintain and the cost of providing the water, are paying the premium for that. But it does hit if you happen to have a large leak. It does hit. It still doesn't hit.
So that better explains the benefit of the pricing setup, but it doesn't really explain why the way to contact somebody is through mail versus.
First of all, we have almost 4,000 customers.
Right, so how often is there a large leak that could, that's sort of like a daily.
Let me interrupt you just for a minute, not because I'm trying to be pushy, but because I actually have an answer for you. We find that also to be of concern to us, that we can't contact everyone whose water bill, so you say, is this water bill high, or is this water bill normal, or is this water bill, it's not easy to know, because it depends on the size of your property, it depends on many things, right? So what we are instituting in the next little while, shouldn't be too long, is a way for you to check your own water.
That's good.
Where you can just type in something on the internet and you can check on what your water bill is. Not what your water bill is, but what your usage is. You can check it on a daily basis. That will help that. We don't have it now.
Right. We would be able to set it to some sort of alert when there is.
I don't know. That
would actually be useful.
It would. And we have Nixle, we have so many things that we do send out alerts for, but when you have 4,000 customers, I'm not sure what the cutoff is going to be for sort of high and very high.
Wouldn't it just be that whatever generates the postcard?
Postcard generates when it's a constant run for
When for a whole month.
But at that point,
You've already generated
But our system doesn't, we don't read every single day. We read once a month. And so once a month, we find out whether it's continuous. And that's what we came up with.
postcard that they take,
Right, and that's why you get a postcard. So thank you, that's a very, very good question. We're concerned about it too, but there are variables there that means we could be sending a notice to every single customer. The little lady who uses 20 gallons a day, if she goes up to 40, she's doubled her usage. Oh my goodness, does that mean she gets a card? I don't know. If she has continuous usage on the day we read, she gets a card. But that's once a month. So, it's very hard. It just like NYSEG doesn't let you know when you have something that's running all the time. We're a utility. And so while I think your question is really good, technology is not quite there yet. And it is the responsibility of the property manager to regularly check and find out if you have a running toilet, or if you have a leak in the basement, or if you have, some other, an outside faucet that's left on. We have a lot of opportunities for wasting water. We could give you lots of stories about customers who come in and they suddenly discover that they had a leak in the basement that they never discovered. And when our people go in, they discover there's a leak. And people say, oh, I never knew that. Well, if you went down your basement, you probably would have figured it out, So we're getting off the subject, but I do appreciate your question. And I hope I've given you some answer to it. It may not satisfy, but it gives you where we are today. Thank you. So, people, what are we going to do?
Are you putting forth the motion, or did you want us to do that?
I'm happy to put forward the motion. I make a motion that based on a recalculation of the usage, based on a 3-year average rather than a one-time calculation, that we reduce the bill for 56 River Street from where was it? $5,917.96 to $4,133.70.
Say it again.
$4,133.70.
I'll second it.
Is there further
Sorry, not to cut you off, Chair. Can you repeat your original number? Your
I don't think the problem is I don't think that's the right one. Because I handed off my...
$5,423.37.
Oh, yes, I had it. 5423337. I'm looking at this extensive calculation and getting it.
$4,133.70.
Right.
Sorry.
Further discussion? Okay.
Chairman Hudson?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamlin?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Appreciate your consideration.
And please have them be in communication with our finance office.
Yeah, I will.
They will be getting a recalculated bill.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're on 15 Susquehanna. So our people went to the property, and we discovered that you're still using a lot of water.
Yes, I was there with him. But as we discussed the last time, that we believed that the meter was faulty, which is why we were going to replace it, and it still has not been replaced, so it's the same meter using the same amount of water.
However,
There was a leaking toilet discovered. It was addressed within a half an hour of discovery, and since January, the water department has been there twice. We had an expert plumber go. My maintenance and myself was at the property weekly, checking on that meter as I gave you the photos every week the last time that I was here, and that toilet did not run once. I understand the possibility of it being periodic, but I'm not kidding when I tell you that I was at that property over 50 times from the time we received the water bill in January to the last time that I met with you. So there's no... Yeah, maybe it went between the time that I haven't checked on the meter since our last meeting, I will tell you that, because we were told we were going to get a new meter. So why continue to check on it? The meter is faulty. I mean, even though there was a running toilet the last time that he was there, that still doesn't explain the fact that there was discrepancies in the readings from when they took the meter to the city to test it and from when they brought it back.
and we have received a note from the manufacturer saying that yes, it is possible for it to go back when the pressure is taken off. When the meter is removed, it is possible for it to run back because the pressure is off. And so that may have been a discrepancy, but it was running fine. And our testing found that it was running fine, and now it's tested again and it's still running fine. It's hard for us to believe that that the toilet that was completely flowing so fast is still flowing, and that it somehow escaped your notice.
I don't believe that. I am sorry. I truly apologize if that is what you believe, but there's the amount of times that we had people there from the time we received the water bill until the time that I met you last, there is no possible way that that toilet was not running at least one of those times that somebody was in that building.
So,
That's just not,
sorry, June 20th to June 28th, it was empty? There's nobody living there?
June 20th and June 28th?
June 20th through June 28th,
No, this year,
correct.
there were people living there
In both apartments?
in both apartments. Both apartments are currently occupied.
So I thought there was a new meter put in, am I incorrect? And then
The new meter was
That's
put
been
in,
installed.
but the new meter was put in last week.
on
Well,
June
2 weeks,
21st.
it was on the 20th
So, we met here in May.
in May.
So from June 20th, when the meter was installed, to June 28th, there was 2,230 gallons used in 8 days.
In the new meter.
In the new meter,
In the new meter.
in 8 days. That's
Okay.
a lot of water.
Yeah, I mean, we hear what you're saying, but the evidence does not support it. And we heard what you were saying before, and we gave you the benefit of the doubt, but now we have evidence that there was something that was malfunctioning in the apartments, and that you're continuing to use a lot of water, even with the new meter. So, our finance department has reappealed, they've appealed to us because of the evidence that they found, and we're beginning to think that we made a mistake last time. So what do you think, board members?
I honestly, I was really on your side last time, and I think you know that, let's call them, let's get on the phone, let's do everything we can, because how could a meter go backwards? But the manufacturer is telling us that that can happen when the pressure is released directly from them in writing. So I have to believe the manufacturer, it's their product, correct? And then my other problem is that once the new meter was installed, that's why I was verifying dates, 2,200 gallons were used in 8 days. That's a lot of water to be used. I don't even use that much water, and I have 4 kids, so, and do laundry every day, so.
How many people actually are living there?
4 adults, 3 children.
Lots of showers happening.
Yeah, I mean, something's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could just be that tank, and that's what's driving you constant, because I know my downstairs tank, sometimes the kids hit it the wrong way, and I could hear it immediately, because I'm attuned to it, because I'm like, I'm not paying more water than I have to. Go reflush the tank, go fix the lever, and it just recloses that seal. And we've replaced it twice, but it just continues to happen, so I have a hard time believing that it's not just the meter at this point. I'm sorry.
So, with the appeal from the finance office, I need the approval of you, Dana, and you, Andrew, since you made the original motion to approve their appeal, the owner appeal. I need your agreement that you will re-support a reopening of the appeal.
I will motion to reopen the appeal.
And I'll second it.
Okay, let's have a vote on the reopening of the appeal.
Chairman Ramsey?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yeah.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenison?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamlin?
Yes.
Okay, with that in mind, I would entertain a motion to reinstate the original bill.
Second it.
Further discussion? I'm sorry, but...
Are we keeping the new meter?
Yes, we're keeping the new meter.
Okay. Okay.
And the original bill,
And it's not going to cost you anything. I mean, there should be no charge.
trying to remember what they were.
Okay.
And the original bill was what, March, please?
The original bill was $5,489.26. And there's been no penalty because we
Yeah. And that's a 2021 bill?
Yep. I mean, you're gonna have another big one. Hopefully you won't, because hopefully now you'll really get things fixed and your usage, but check, you know, you should be checked, now that you have a meter that works, check. Okay, well, we haven't voted yet, so,
We got 3 motions, Phil second.
yep.
Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yeah.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have the snow appeal from Jennifer Friedrich. She is not here, and we've been putting this off for a very long time, where I would say that based on the evidence of the pictures, that the snow wasn't shoveled.
I agree.
And we also were provided with, this came from you guys, right?
I think that was part of the...
Well, she provided that.
Oh, she provided this? Well, anyway, I make a motion that we deny the appeal and let Ms. Frederick know that she has to pay her for cleaning her sidewalk.
I second it.
Do we have any further discussion?
Nope.
Yes.
How old is the woman, Jennifer?
I'm sorry, just have to
What
speak.
is the age of the woman, Jennifer? Like, is she elderly?
It's a rental.
Oh, okay. No, I know, but like,
I have 2 people in the house that assured me it wasn't needed. That's what she said. So she is not a local person.
oh, okay.
She is,
North Belmore,
what's her,
North Belmore, New York.
She's in North Belmore, New York.
okay. So she's not at the house.
Okay. Now, the people that are living at the house, couldn't they have shoveled it or something like that, just to save her
You
the...
know, people have different arrangements with their tenants.
When you rent, that's
Yeah.
no problem.
I'll reread her appeal. After last winter and the ridiculous amount of summer I was issued last year for this problem, I not only pay people to shovel, but have 2 people in the house that assured me it wasn't needed on the day in question. The big snow came the following day. I have gone through several ice melt buckets this year. I know my 35-foot maybe sidewalk is shoveled and ice melt put down. I'm submitting the weather report for 3/10/22. Please give me a break. I cannot afford this fine. I have become disabled in the last year and have fallen on hard times. Please either squash it or reduce it. I had no other fines this winter. So I agree with you, Andrew, that this woman is disabled. Apparently, she's paying someone to shovel her sidewalk.
Okay.
That's what her appeal says. And she is, and it just wasn't done. I mean,
That's right.
you can see from the picture that there is a path, like a 1 shovel path through the center of it.
Hit the stairs.
You see the,
Oh, yeah.
in the, do you see the, like, little,
Yep.
The problem is, the person she's hired to do should be the ones checking.
okay, so,
I second it.
okay, thank you.
Ready?
Yes.
Chairman Ising?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yeah.
Commissioner Leonard?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamlin?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, you're here for 39 Maple Street? Yes. And, are you familiar with our blighted property ordinance?
Oh, yes. We own 37 Maple, that's why we're here.
Oh,
They want it like.
you're Severus Incorporated?
They want it like, yeah, they're neighbors. We want it like, they're neighbors.
Well,
And it's falling on your property.
so let's use the Take your time. Oh, well. But you can keep that, that is a chart of the conditions, so that you, and it has the number of points related to each condition, so.
There's also another email received from a neighbor.
That's
the other side.
39 and a half.
All right, so let's look at some pictures. I drove by this property, but,
That storm window is about ready to
okay.
melt, but since the lightings was here.
You'll have to say what we're looking at, because some of it's not. This is debris against the fence?
It's in the side yard, right?
That's the
Backyard, yeah.
What is it?
This is the road side of the house, that's actually a chimney that juts out there that, well, part of the foundation you'll see next.
Yes.
Right near the brick, or that's the bottom of the chimney face. And that goes back, part of that's covered up, there's a hole, that's the hole in the foundation that, I think mentioned in the letter. Yeah, there's the rest of the
There we
hole.
go. And we did declare them safe for the same reason.
Yes, I wrote that down. We can do
Okay,
that.
so,
Is this vacant?
Yeah, it's very.
Yes, the whole,
If it was big and all that.
long time.
That doesn't mean it's really is
10 years
sometimes.
of
oh yeah, right, now I do remember looking at that house. Okay, so, under the code, the blighted property can be assigned the blighted designation if the Board of Public Service finds that more than 100 points exist related to these conditions of the property. So, number one is serious immediate threat to safety, health, or general welfare of the community. It has not received that. The owner has received prosecuted for violations, which has not happened. The property has been an instrument of illegal, noxious, or deleterious activity. No. Determination by the fire chief that the property is a imminent fire hazard. No. The property is creating substantial interference with the lawful use and reasonable enjoyment of other space within the structure or within surrounding neighborhood. Yes.
Yes.
That's the complaints we've had from our
In
project.
terms of, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but the pieces of the roof and the gutters and everything that are hanging off it.
Yes, and we're getting to that. Yeah, we're getting to that.
Overhang our driveway.
Right, the property has been declared unsafe by the city of Oneonta, yes. So far we have E,
F.
F. The property is registered on the city of Oneonta vacant registry, yes. That is G. The property is determined to be unmaintained. I have to look at your thing again here.
So you got
Which is under H5, overgrown grass.
What about 2, broken or unsecured windows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's there too. We don't have unsecured doors, but we have excessive litter and debris.
Yeah.
That would be 10. Under H7, we have broken, unsecured, or in disrepair roof, yes.
Gutters.
Shingles, yes.
Gutters.
Gutters, yes.
Chimney.
I don't know, are we chimney too? Yes, chimney. Healing or deteriorated paint, which is
Number 17.
17. Would you also say that there are
Infestation.
disrepairs fencing, or is the fencing okay?
I don't think the fence is theirs, I believe it's.
Oh, it's the other property owner, okay. Damaged, dead, or fallen trees or limbs? Yeah, I mean, that's the debris that's liable. Stagnant water, swimming pools, no. Vermin, no. Well, they're not, yes, vermin, yes.
There's pigeons that are constant, yeah.
Probably.
Plus, I guess, since the hole in the basement there, don't worry about.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of vermin, yes.
Which
And the door is secured now with the
usually
registry.
And I think we probably should indicate, not fire damage. There's nothing on our list to recommend the holes in the basement. So I suppose that's our unsafe. Okay, so with that in mind, we have E, F, G, H2, H4, H5, H7A, B, C, D, H15, H17, H20. So let's see, 125.
235, Marge.
235? Thank you. Based on that analysis and the recommendation of the Code Enforcement Office and the complaints from the neighbors, I would make a motion that we declare this property blighted.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. This blighted designation, which we are about to vote on, will trigger a timetable automatically with the Code Enforcement Office that the property owner is required to submit within 30 days a restoration agreement and with a timetable, or face a fee of $2,500 that will be immediately assessed.
Have you guys been in contact with this person verbally at all?
It's a discrepancy, you guys have what the county has, which is the previous owner. I just, unless Gary would have to tell you whether he's got anything back.
So you have
Well, there's some discrepancy as to who even owns it, because
Yeah.
the Louis after 9.5 contacted whoever's supposed to be the owner of record, who thought it was the bank, they're ready with the bank on it, but the bank, it sort of is not, I mean, this is not a property.
Yeah, apparently he didn't even know he owned it anymore. He thought the bank
He
had
thought it was
owned
foreclosed.
it.
So classic.
And, I mean, the bank's not gonna foreclose on it because they're not gonna get their money back out of it. So it's kind of, it's.
So maybe, well, then the county takes it and we figure out what to do about that. I mean, we now have a fund for valued property, so we may be able to do something ourselves. We certainly will, but we have 30, there's a 30-day window, nothing's going to be done for 30 days unless we order you to go and clean up the outside and secure the property. Which we already did with the unsafe.
We did what we need to do.
Right, okay. And will you do more if we order you to today?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. So let's first vote on the designation of blighted. We have a motion on the table, we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay?
Chair Mercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer? Commissioner Livermore? Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to make a motion that we order the Code Enforcement Office to at least clean up the outside of the property and secure the holes in the basement so that we are not encouraging more vermin. Notify the property owner of the 30-day window and of whoever we get to notify, maybe both. Right, and then in 30 days, we'll be back, we'll get a report on it, and we can make additional directives at that point.
I'll second it.
That's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Everybody wants to second it. I take Phil this time. Phil gets to second it. Okay, any further discussion? Okay.
Chair Mercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next property that we're going to consider. Thank you. I mean, you can exit if you want to. I think you're done with your part of it. You can welcome to stay. The next property we're here to address is 46. 46. Hi. Yeah, could you identify yourself for the clerk, just so we have a record that you're here?
Victoria Spataro.
Oh, are you here for a property? No, okay, that's fine. All right. You're welcome to be here. We just wondering whether you want to speak or anything. Okay. So, this is 46 Center Street, which we can have the pictures for now. We declared this unsafe at our last meeting.
Has a video.
All right.
No.
You have video?
There's a video that we had seen previously, but.
Right, but we just,
Sure.
It's a new video.
oh, perfect. Okay, so we're just going to watch the video.
July 7, 2023, floor 6 Center Street. Well, Wyden.
I mean, we kind of reviewed this at our last meeting, so we're familiar with some of the problems of this property.
Is there commentary?
Start again.
Yeah. And so when they say they need to know what stuff is, I pointed out the video. Yeah.
July 7, 2022, 46 Center Street, Road for one. We have issues with paint on this house. We have some signage that's not painted. We have graffiti on the roof leak on the west side of the porch. You can see right here. Looks like the chimney needs pointing. We've got some posts that are potentially rotted at the bottom. We have some grass and vegetation. And we have the porch that is not repaired, blocked off anything. There's still being use. Arrow tarp over that, that's dilapidated. Vegetation growing on the roof. Little vegetation on the back. That's an improper handrail. That's areas of vision. Deteriorated areas on the back of the house here.
Yeah, quick exit, there was somebody inside watching.
All right. So it's not vacant. All right. So based on that evidence that the directed by the code enforcement officer, the evidence from the video, our own personal visits to the property, the designations outlined by the code enforcement office in their letter. This property has these conditions which could lead to a blighted designation. B, substantial interference with the lawful use or reasonable enjoyment of space within the structure, building, or within the surrounding neighborhood. Well, of course, the unsafe entries to the property are certainly a problem for those living in it, but also the rest of the neighborhood is in fairly good condition. Anyway, I'm sure we have complaints about that. It was declared unsafe by the Board of Public Service. It is not vacant. It has broken or unsecured doors, entryways, or exits. It has overgrown grass. It has broken or in disrepair roof, gutters, siding and shingles, chimney, and accessory structures, including but not limited to the front and rear porches. 2, 3, 4. It also has broken, unsecured, or disrepair fencing, which is number 11, and peeling and deteriorated paint, which is number 17. Okay, of course, we don't know, based on the way the basement is accessible, it could have vermin, we don't know that. So I think we still are able to outline 50 for E, 50 for F, 10 for 3, 10 for 5, 10 for roof. So we are up to 1, 2, 3, 130, 135, 145, 155, 160, 175, 185, 190.
185.
195?
185.
185? I don't know.
You did 5 twice.
Oh, did I? Oh, right, I did count that. All right, so 190. I would entertain a motion to declare this property blighted based on the designations outlined in the code.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Oh, do you second it? No, I didn't make the motion. So you just made the motion.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second it then.
I just entertained the motion.
Entertained.
I didn't make it. I can't make up the motions, I shouldn't do that. All right, so any further discussion? You can call the roll.
Chair Mercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer? Commissioner Arnold? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes?
Yes.
Based on our previous statements, this property the owner will be notified to provide a restoration agreement within 30 days. You will report to us. Is there anything specific you want us to order about this property that goes beyond what we ordered for the unsafe?
No, I think you ordered him to secure that porch.
I was gonna say, didn't we do this 30-day thing when the porch had to be secured, they were here?
Yeah, we did.
It
It
was
has
possible to do. and-
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which may mean that
So do we have the right to do that?
What's that?
Do we have the right to do
Oh,
that?
do it ourselves? Potentially. I mean,
there are people in the house, so you have to make sure
Yeah.
you aren't blocking them in the house or out of the house. I mean, we could order the house vacated based on failure to do the things we told them at the last meeting. That would be an action beyond what we've done so far.
Yeah, I would like to do that. I mean, I know that's kind of crappy for the people living there, but it doesn't look like it's very safe to live there to begin with. I wouldn't live there.
Would you like to make that motion
Yes.
to order the property vacated?
Within 30 days, please.
This time we'll listen.
They have to listen, it's vacated,
I mean,
otherwise the police get involved.
Yeah, it just gives
Or the police.
us more ammunition. Second?
I'll second that one.
Okay. Additional discussion? Do you have any other thoughts on this? Okay.
And,
Yeah.
oops, sorry.
No.
And secure it within that 30 days, can I add that to my motion? With that?
If we have to get the people out first before we can secure it.
Well, that's what I mean, once they're out to secure it.
Right, but you know what, we're gonna put that for, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
So, but we can still order it because that gives the code enforcement office the opportunity to go to court on this
Right.
part, right? So we have to wait, I think, one more month before we
Okay.
can order it secured.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Mercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other items that you would like to, oh wait, yeah, we did it. So, any other items?
no, I think you'll probably you may be at 8 High Street here is a blight property, that's another Nickerson property, we had a complaint about it last week, and
And we haven't seen any action on that one either.
now, and his personal house is, well, I went and I delivered the notification, nobody was home, I almost fell through the front porch. That house is really rough. And I think they're ill, I don't know what's going on, but.
Well, if you do it, I mean, he was here at our last meeting and said, I'm getting too old to do this.
So,
The prices are as high as they're ever gonna be for places that are not.
I have questions, sorry. One of my questions was on my 8 Third Street, was that ever taken care of, that was under the unsafe declaration?
It's so,
It was a tenant that was kept getting ticketed and the whole to-do.
yeah, so Penny called and she said, fantastic, I sold it back to Gregory.
Oh, okay.
Josh Gregory said they're in the midst of closing. Last time there was garbage outside, which doesn't really affect us other than we pick it up. And it's attached to the property. Yeah, so.
I think that's the only one I have, because I reinstated the Chestnut Street one. I think that was my only 2 I had, sorry.
So anything further